Hello. I hope you are having a lovely day, and thank you so much for stopping into my podcast, CPTSD, The Gorgeous Disaster. Now, this is episode 2 of a series I'm doing on love and trauma. And at the end of my last episode, I was starting to discuss the kind of people that are going to really give you a very hard time in a relationship. And while there is this probably misconstrued notion in your head that a relationship isn't worth it unless it's hard, because maybe all the relationships in your life have been hard. Well, that's not true. Relationships are not supposed to be hard. They are supposed to be easy. They are supposed to feel effortless. They're supposed to feel good and natural. And they're most importantly supposed to be something that you want to be doing wholeheartedly. So, I had mentioned kinds of people to start kind of avoiding if you are looking for a relationship or you're looking for love. I really think avoiding these kind of people or people with any of these nuances or characteristics will really help you find someone who is suited to be supportive of you and your journey of healing from CPTSD. So I said to avoid people that cannot express their emotions or do not know how, and more importantly, do not want to express their emotions or listen to your emotions. These are the kind of people who are going to call you crazy every time you want to talk to them about how you're feeling. And it's not your fault. You are not crazy. They are doing this because of how that they were raised. And they were raised to not show their emotions. They were raised that showing their emotions is weak. You can try and save them from this thought process if you want. But chances are, for most people, they have it ingrained so deep in them that it is just a part of who they are until they decide themselves to make a change. And what's really important to note is that we only have control over ourselves at the end of every day. So that's why I feel like the best way to approach relationships is to just avoid all of these things. And I know this list is long, and I know you're probably thinking, like, Allie, do you think that I'm just gonna like meet Mother Teresa or something? I know. I'm holding out too. And I'm waiting and I'm hoping that, hey, maybe I'll meet someone like this. But if I don't, that's okay, because I have myself and I have filled that void inside myself with love for myself and care for myself. And I know that I don't deserve any of these things on this list. The problem is that these are all things that I am so used to. I'm so used to dealing with, I'm so used to seeing, that it has really at one point became part of my world and I didn't even question it. So you also don't want to date someone who doesn't know or care about trauma or the effects it has on people. They might even have their own trauma that they don't want to talk about. But you definitely do not want someone like this, because when you have an episode and you get angry at them for not caring about your trauma, they are not going to be sympathetic or even understanding as to why you are lashing out. And you're going to need someone with more compassion. Has a toxic ex or toxic past relationships. Okay? Now, a lot of times when we get into relationships and we talk to someone and they have all these toxic past relationships that they're telling you about, but you're so happy when you're with them, it feels so good when you're with them, you're just thinking, well, you know, they just weren't, their exes just weren't the one. Their exes just weren't as special as me, or their ex maybe didn't understand like I do because they weren't traumatized like I am. You're gonna think that because of the loving feeling that you're getting from this person if you have went this far with them. And I just want to say that chances are that if someone has one toxic ex, they probably have a lot of toxic exes and a lot of toxic ex relationships. And it's possible that you could have a lot of toxic exes and a lot of toxic ex relationships. Yeah, I know I said that weird. But that just goes to show that you are both in a situation where you need to take care of yourself right now and not be worried about taking care of each other, because you're both going to be trying to fill the other one up with love, and it will never be enough until you both take the time away from each other. And I do definitely, I know this is really cliche, but I do believe that if you let something go, if you set it free and it comes back, it was meant to be. So maybe if you run into someone and they happen to have a toxic love history, maybe, you know, let them go. Let them go and see what happens. See if they go and work on themselves and come back. You go work on yourself. If you happen to run into them again, see what happens again. I just don't think that now people are going to be talking about their exes a lot once they get into a new relationship. I don't think that's a normal thing. And I think that we think it's a normal thing because, well, we've had so many exes who have talked about their exes, used their exes eventually against us to hurt our feelings. So we think that it's normal for people to talk about their exes once they enter a new relationship. And besides maybe some basic things or answering any questions that you may have, it's not normal. And the next one has a toxic co-parent. I think is so important and one of the most overlooked ones. Okay, hear me out. This is nothing against children or people who have kids or anything, but people who have a toxic co-parent, meaning their baby mom or baby dad is extremely toxic. They don't like you. They make it known they don't like you, and they are doing everything they can, including using the child to try and remove you from the picture. Okay? Because you have gained so much compassion and understanding as a child who was created from trauma and darkness, it's going to hurt you so much seeing this child going through maybe even like 1/10 of what you went through. Even just the not having two parents that can even communicate, it's going to end up hurting you. And the chances of baby mom or baby dad stopping are like slim to none because they're always going to be around. So just keep in mind when you get in a relationship with someone who has a child, keep in mind that whoever their baby mom or baby dad is someone who you will have to, for as long as the time you're in that relationship, you will have to try and be civil and be amicable and be friendly with them. And you may also have to meet demands that they make, which for me personally, that would really, really upset me if I had to meet demands that someone else made. Like, why are they making demands of me? Already I feel judged, that they don't trust that I would be good around this child. Obviously, the person who you had this child with trusts me. So therefore, that should be enough for you to trust me. And you're not always going to have a partner who's going to be strong enough to tell baby mom or baby dad, hey, back off them. So my advice is to just be super, super mindful of that. And if they have like a really cool baby mom, baby dad, and you like them and you like their child, go for it. Because I know that you, if you were deciding to be a step parent, you would be an amazing one. I'm sure you would be so sweet to a child. I'm sure you would nurture them and be really nice to them. But like, imagine doing that for a child only to a couple years later still ultimately have to leave that child's life because your partner's ex is too bitter or just too jealous to let you ever really be a real part of that child's life. So it's just something that you have to keep in mind. For me personally, whenever there's like something external that has a lot of something external that I can't even like talk to or communicate, that has a lot of control over my life, it makes me feel very uncomfortable. So I don't want to keep rambling on and on. And these last couple topics are all kind of in the same category of like, don't be with a fucking douchebag, okay? So I'm just going to read them all off and explain to you why you don't deserve that shit, okay? Are, are narcissistic, toxic, fake, unempathetic, selfish, or judgmental. They're not grounded. They're not willing to communicate. They disrespect you, shame you, guilt you, unconsensually verbal, sexually, or physically assault you. Okay. None of this is okay. Absolutely none of this is okay to be happening in a relationship. And it is your call what you want to put up with and what you want to tolerate. But I'm saying this, and I'm saying this focused at people who have experienced trauma, because even though I think this can help everybody, I really want to focus on people who have experienced trauma, because people who have experienced trauma are the people who are going to overlook these things. They're going to think to yourself. Think to yourself right now about a recent relationship that you've had that went bad, if you had one that went bad. And look at this list and see if not at least one or two or three or four things on this list were at least a red flag that you felt in the beginning that you ignored. And that goes back to what I said in the last podcast, which is trust your instincts, trust your gut. It's so smart. It knows exactly what you need, and you just have to trust it. Listen to the red flags, listen to your instincts. If someone does something that makes you uncomfortable or doesn't sit well with you, know that you're allowed to feel that way. You're allowed to feel like you don't like something, and you're allowed to express yourself about it. That is it for this podcast. I just wanted to any of the things I have listed in this list or a red flag that you have experienced that you have let go on by because you were really into someone, I please ask you to share below in the comments which ones particular have you been not so wanting to listen to. And I want you to do this because I want you to forgive yourself for not listening to your instincts and just move forward knowing that from now on you are going to listen to them. And I want other people to know that they're not alone and that we're all humans and we all make mistakes and we're all living and learning and doing the best we can with the hand that we were dealt and what we were taught. So I really want anyone who is still struggling from being in a toxic relationship to start focusing on forgiving yourself. Forgive yourself for not listening to yourself and your instincts, and move forward in a direction of love for yourself, and know that you will, moving forward, always listen to your guts and your instincts. Okay, guys, I'm going to definitely go now, and I hope to see you all from our next podcast, where we're all going to make the list that is going to help you get over your toxic ex. Bye!